Hey, how you guys doing? It's your boy Mark. Yes, I'm here at Collectors Fest in New Jersey, 2023, on a beautiful March Sunday. Today's going to be amazing. There's a lot of superstars here. There's a lot of talented people here. Without further ado, let's get this motherfucking show on the road. We'll be right back after these messages. Bye-bye. Hey, how you guys doing? As I told you guys before, I always have the best guests on my program. And this gentleman that's standing in front of my camera is no exception to that statement. He's a legendary comic book artist. He's the one and only, the invincible Mark McKenna. How you doing, Mark?
Doing great. I'm doing great, thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. I know you're a very busy guy, so tell me, how did you get your start working in comics? For my audience members, because they don't know who you are. I know who you are, but they don't.
So back in 1985, I got a call from John Romita Sr., who was the art director at Marvel at the time, and he offered me a job to work in production as what they call Romita's Raiders back then. It was basically doing art corrections. And I passed on the job opportunity twice because they were paying back then $4.50 an hour, and I was living in Long Island, and my commuting fee alone would have been more money than I would have been making. But after the third time he called and offered it, I said, I told him my problem, that about financing it, the job, and he said I could get you extra work, doing backgrounds for assistants, and I said yes, and I worked at Marvel for a year and a half after that.
Okay, cool, man. So that's good. That was cool. It's good that you met John Jazzy Romita. That's amazing. I met him too. He signed my cover of Spider-Man getting married. Yeah, the Weatherman album. So what was your first assignment like? What was your first book you worked on?
So because I was a production guy at Marvel wouldn't really hire me to do a regular book. They always thought of me as a corrections guy. It was when I had my lunch break one day in 1986. I went over to DC Comics, which was down the road at 555 Fifth Avenue or 666 Fifth Avenue, one of those. And I got to meet Karen Berger, who was one of the group editors at DC, and left samples. Next day she called me up and offered me Dr. Fate back in 1987. So I got to do Dr. Fate. I was on contract at DC for 4 years. I quit Marvel, and I went down the block and worked for DC for 4 years until 1991 when Ralph Macchio called me up, not the Karate Kid one, but the guy who was doing Doctor Strange. He was editing Doctor Strange, invited me to do Doctor Strange. I broke my contract and went over to Marvel.
Nice, yes. Yeah. If you don't know people, there's more than one Ralph Macchio in the world. Not the actor, but there's also an editor named Ralph Macchio. And I haven't met him. Is he still alive or?
Still alive. Haven't talked to him in 25 years, though.
Gotcha. I know that story. I see you have an eclectic work here. You got some Punisher, you got the Iron Giant, Gargoyles. That show is amazing. Ninja Turtles. I would never suspect you for working on Ninja Turtles. You got some Wolverine, you got some Inhumans. So have you ever had an assignment that was so damn hard you said, fuck it, I'm going to do it?
There are assignments. Usually licensing assignments are tricky because they have to go through approval of every phase. So I worked on Star Wars: The Old Republic for Dark Horse, and they're trying to make deadlines, but they have to get everything approved: the scripting, the penciling, the inking, the coloring. Everything has to be approved, so it slows down the process quite a bit. But still, working on Star Wars was kind of like a godsend.
I see you have Ninja Turtles on your table. Tell me about that experience.
The Ninja Turtle was just a piece I did for a commission, and it has a life of its own because it was done in sepia tones, which kind of is reminiscent of the old school Turtles. And I have a color version of the same piece that doesn't sell nearly as well, and yet it's colored by Laura Martin, who's an award-winning colorist. But people kind of think about the old classic Turtles, and that's the piece that I sell well at the shows.
Okay, cool. Is there anything that you're working on currently right now besides Marvel and DC?
So the business right now of independent comics has really come to life for me. I'm working on a book for a guy who owns the second largest convention circuit in England, possibly even Europe. Does a show called the Liverpool Comic Con, and I'm doing a book for him. It's a horror book, and he's going to ask me to come visit Liverpool to help promote the book. And then I'm doing another book for a guy who I met up in Albany named Zach. Can't think of his last name at the moment, but I'm doing a book called Vampire, which is a vampire rock and roll guy, which is a cool book. Working on a second issue right now. And then my own book that I do is Combat Jacks, which is alien jack-o'-lanterns fighting space marines. And I have tons of these. I'm selling them really, really affordably. They're $20 books. I have cases of them at home. I'm trying to get rid of them. So reach out to me, and I'll sell them to you for $10 each plus shipping.
Okay, so if they really do, since you want them to come in contact with you, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
So I am on Facebook, Mark A. McKenna. I am on Instagram. I don't know my login information, but you can find me on Instagram. I'm also on Twitter. I have a Facebook Mark McKenna art page. And then also my website's www.markmckennaart.com. I do a children's book called Banana Tale, bananatail.com. And then I have combatjacks.com.
Nice, man. Mark, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being here. I hope to see you here next year. I love coming to the show. It's fun, it's friendly, and thank you for making my time wonderful.
Thanks for coming to see me. I appreciate it.
As I told you guys before, I always have the best guests on my program, and Mark is no exception to that statement. Guys, thanks for watching. We'll be back right after these messages.